I'm 17 years old, and Madison College is a great way for me to kickstart my career. Actually, super excited that my classes are online. I really enjoy online learning. With the support you get from Madison College and your teachers, the teachers are still genuine. You still get their support through your emails. If you don't understand something, you just contact them, and they really help you out and support you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Robert Chappell, Executive Editor of Madison365, with your daily updates of the news, especially related to coronavirus in the state of Wisconsin. The news today is, again, a little bit mixed bag. It's not great. It's not terrible, but it's not. It just doesn't tell us a lot because of the relatively lower number of tests. We did have more tests done today than yesterday, but it's still fewer than 10,000, which really isn't enough to give us a really good sense of how things are going. And this is a nationwide phenomenon. Testing is lower everywhere in the country. It's not real clear why exactly. It's some of it has to do with just people, not wanting to take the time to get tests done, people being busy or being kind of like over it and not want to think about it. And other, community testing sites closing up and stuff, reducing hours, that kind of thing. But what we do know is that just under 10,000 tests, 634 new cases today, which is still a pretty good, relatively big number. 6.3% of tests were positive today, which is better than yesterday, and which is a lot better than Sunday, rather. Sunday was over 11%. You remember yesterday was 7.6. Today it's 6.3. Of those, we have 66,830 positive cases right now. And of those, about 8,400 are active, meaning they either currently have symptoms or were diagnosed more than 30 days ago. That 30-day thing is not a perfect measure, but the vast majority of people who are going to recover within 30 days. So that's kind of a good approximation to think of how many cases are currently active. That's about 200 fewer than it was yesterday, which is good. We like that. We want that number to continue to go down. The really bad news today, there's two pieces of really bad news today. Like I said, the spread numbers are fine. In the 634 cases, 6.3%, that's fine. Doesn't tell us a lot. But the two numbers that are bad today are 13 fatalities. Again, these death numbers are a reflection of what happened about a month ago. So like the entire month of July, where the numbers were high all the time, every week, every day. We're going to see these higher fatality numbers now. 13 is not, it's not 30, which is what I frankly expected to see. Still not good. They were a bit more concentrated today than they have been. 6 of these fatalities are in Milwaukee County. 2 are in Racine County, and then 1 each in Jefferson, Lincoln, Outagamie, Washington, and Waukesha counties. That brings our total death toll to 1,052. This is Lincoln County's first fatality. Again, these rural counties are starting to feel it. You know what I mean? One other thing to note about these fatalities, most of them were older people. The older people are just more vulnerable. We've seen that all along. So of these 13 fatalities, which we'll mention, these aren't all people who died today or yesterday. These are just being reported today. It's taking 3 to 5 days for a fatality, for someone to pass away, for that to make it into this state data, right? So this is a conglomeration of people who've passed away over the past several days, okay? But 2 of those people were in their 90s. 5 of them were in their 80s, and 3 were in their 70s. So as has been the case all along, most of these deaths are older people. Now, if you're the kind of person who thinks that makes it okay, rethink your stance maybe. We hear a lot. I hear one of the counterpoints to all the safety measures is that most people who die are old, as if that makes it okay. If there are people in their 90s who live really good lives, there's a sitting state senator who's 92 right now. He's retiring finally, but just because you're 90 doesn't mean it's more acceptable for you to die from this. Okay, but also of note, that's only 10 of the 13 were over 70. One person in their 50s passed away. We know, I'm not too far from 50. 50 is not particularly old. You got a hell of a lot of life left in you when you're in your 50s. And 2 of the fatalities today were in their 30s. Older people are much more vulnerable. Younger people are not invincible, not immune to getting sick or to dying. Okay, so that's the bad news about the fatalities today. The other piece of bad news I have for you today is the rate of transmission remains 1.11, which is the same as it was yesterday. Today we are 5th highest in the nation. Yesterday we were 4th, so one state, I think Washington, passed us. But still, that's not good. What that means is, on average, each person who's infected passes it on to 1.11 other people. And it sounds silly to say that, but a better way to think about it maybe is each 100 people who are infected will pass it on to 111 people. So now you have 211 people who are sick, right? Each round of infection as it spreads gets bigger. We want that number to be below 1, which would mean that each round of infection would get smaller. So what that tells us is that over the past several days, even though our numbers, our epidemiological numbers, are slightly better today and over the past couple of days, what's actually happening on the ground is that it's spreading faster with each round of infection. Each time it gets passed along, it gets passed on to a couple of more people. So we're never going to get it really under control until that number is below 1. Okay. So that's the other piece of bad news. Now let's talk about a few local spots, which are, these are not good news for some of these spots. Milwaukee County today, 113 new cases. As usual, Milwaukee County is the most. You expect that, the most populous county. 8.5% positive test coming back, so slightly higher than, actually a couple points higher than the state average. This one is a shock to me. It's Brown County. Remember, Brown County had a big outbreak way back early on. Was it in May? Was that long ago? That Brown County had a big outbreak at a meatpacking facility. There was started at a meatpacking facility and then spread throughout the entire, basically, city of Green Bay. Brown County's been doing better, a lot better, but today has 111 new cases. Far more than that's seen in any particular day recently. There was a time back during that outbreak when they were getting more than 100 cases every day for a few days at a time, but 111 new cases today is huge. That's 15.2% positive test for the day. I don't know if those are a catch-up, if that's like a few days worth of data that they're just reporting today for some reason, but that doesn't look good at all for Brown County. We'll see what they do tomorrow. A couple other spots that had higher percentage rates. Dodge County, 13 new cases, about 20.3% positive. Fond du Lac County, 18 cases, 9.6% positive. Kenosha County, 14 cases, 9.7% positive. Marinette County, up north, 13 cases, 15.1% positive. Oconto County, also rural. Oconto County has been on this list for a while now. 13 new cases today, 7.25% positive. Outagamie County, 32 new cases, 8.2% positive. Ozaukee County, 20 cases, 64.5% positive test for the day. They must be really only testing the high-risk people. Sheboygan County, 23 cases today, 15% positive. Trumpeldor County, also bad. It's 15 cases and 38.4% positive. Walworth County, 10 cases, 8.2% positive, so not as bad. Higher than the state average, but not as bad. Washington County, again, 30 new cases, 85.7% positive. That's what happens when you don't test a lot, is that positive test rate goes way up. Waukesha County is okay. Waupaca County, 14 cases, 12.6% positive. So a couple other spots that have higher case numbers, but lower positive test rate. Dane County is doing good, 16 cases, 1.01% positive tests. Let's see, Racine County, 34 cases, 5.15% positive, and then Waukesha County finally 44 new cases, 5.9% positive. So most of these counties that we have listed that have higher numbers have high percentages as well as high cases. That's kind of what's driving the state to be above 6 still right now. Hospitalizations rose again, 15 more today than yesterday, so we're at 380, which is not near the point of overburdening the hospital system. We're not close to that yet, and I don't think we will be probably ever, really. But it is an indication of how things are going in terms of how many people who are ill are seriously ill, right? Again, that's 15 more than yesterday, 16 more than a week ago. But of those, 109 are in intensive care units, and that's 15 fewer than yesterday. So more people are going into sort of general admission hospitalization rather than ICU. Rate of disparity in Latino and Black populations continues to be bad. More than 22% of total cases are now Latino. 16, almost basically 17% of today's new cases. So that's not good today. And that'll keep that 22%, kind of where it is. They're only 7% of the state's population, so they should be only 7% of new cases, of all cases. But they're about 3 times that. So basically, if you're Latino, you're 3 times as likely to get coronavirus than anybody else. Black people are 6% of the population and 14% of cases, so they're about just a little bit more than double. You're about twice as likely to get it if you're Black. And they're also 20% of deaths, which is really, really bad. Like you're, over 3 times as likely to die from it if you get it, if you're Black. So that is what I have for coronavirus today. I don't see any questions today, so we're just going to I just got a couple of things to mention. If you do have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments there. The Asian American list, the most influential Asian Americans, as determined by Wisconsin Asian American Community and your Madison365 editorial staff. The second part was published this morning. It's a 5-part series. We have the 48 most influential Asian Americans on that list. We've done the most influential Black and African American leaders, and we've done the most influential Latino leaders every year since we started back in 2015. So, and this year we were able to do a Native American list and an Asian American list, and then we'll have our 2020 edition of the Latino list next month, and then the 2020 edition of the Black Power list in December. So if you have nominees for either of those, if you know strong and influential Latino or Black leaders from anywhere in Wisconsin, email news@madison365.org. But take a look at that. It's on the website. It's still on the front page. Part 3 will be tomorrow. We're also emailing these out. If you want to, if you go to any article on Madison365.org and scroll down to the bottom, there's a spot where you can sign up for emails. It says get your coronavirus updates, but really it's just it'll put you on our list to get all of our emails basically. And we're emailing that Asian American list every morning, so you can just get that right in your inbox and get to know some folks that you might not know who are Asian American, South Asian, Hmong, Pacific Islanders, Indian, both a mix of immigrants and children of immigrants and grandchildren of immigrants, and just a real broad swath of people from Madison, Milwaukee, Fox Valley, all over the place. So we're pretty proud of that. So take a look at it. And then one bit of soccer nerd news, other than the fact that Manchester United is out of Europa League. And today in the Champions League semifinal, PSG beat who did they beat? RB Leipzig 3-0, which is a wild game. Anyway, the local soccer nerd news. Forward Madison had a big win on Friday, the biggest, most lopsided victory in club history. They beat South Georgia Tormenta 4-0. Don Smart in that game had a goal with his head. He's been playing professionally for like 11 years, maybe more than that, and he's never scored with his head. But he scored with his head. And then he had also 2 assists. So he is actually named USL League One Player of the Week this week. Also in the Team of the Week, his fellow striker Paulo Jr., who had a goal and an assist, as well as center back Josiah Trimmingham, who actually left the game early, not really early, about the 60th minute, I guess, with a calf strain. Those guys are both on the Team of the Week as well. Forward Madison is back underway tomorrow night with a midweek match on short rest against Union Omaha down in Omaha. So we'll be covering that for you. That is what I have for you today. Do not see any comments or questions. So if you do have any questions or stories you think we need to be telling, email us, news@madison365.org, or go ahead and message us on Facebook. And enjoy the rest of your afternoon. And we will see you again tomorrow.